Welcome everybody to World of Tanks Replays. My name is Maxwell and today's first replay is from the user Rono1997. That is Rono1997. He's driving the Panzer III-4 on a standard battle on Kharkov. Panzer III-4 being a tier 5 medium tank for the Germans. This thing's a pretty nice tank. It's a little bit weirdly laid out. As you can see, the turret is slightly further to the left than it is to the right, but that doesn't really make too much of a difference. It's a pretty nice medium tank, can duel fairly well, got good speed and maneuverability, and a half-decent cannon for its tier. Finds a T-46 early on, gets a great hit onto him, just decides to pass him by and carousel around him a little bit. A little bit of an unusual choice considering there are guns behind him, but he doesn't seem to have been punished too badly for that. Does take an ammo rack from the Marder II and has to repair that one. Got to try and take out this Marder II before he goes too far past. Allows his gun to stay focused on him whilst concentrating on the guys in front of him. Loses his track to the VK-30-01. I'm going to have to try and duel with this guy now who could, 20-01, could prove to be rather tough customer, although it looks like he has the best of this one at the moment. Going to continue pounding down onto the VK as he takes him out. Now going to switch his attention across to the Chi-Nu. Chi-Nu fluffs his shot into the dirt. Looks like Rono's just going to charge him down and continue to pressure whilst laying shots into his front. Unfortunately, that one didn't quite penetrate, but it looks like the Chi-Nu isn't having much luck either. Decides not to ram him and just go past. Gets shots through his side armor. Does take a good chunk of damage there back in return, but he is able to take him out in the end for kill number 4. And that was some fast and furious action, all done before 2 minutes have even passed in the game. Does find a Panzer IV-H. He's got to be careful here, as one good shot from this Panzer IV-H will be enough to take him out. Takes out his track, probably hoping to go for the damage rather than that, but anyway. Then the artillery comes and lands in. The second time he's tried to land some damage onto one of Rono's kills, and he's just sniped it away beforehand. Dueling with an AMX-40 now. The AMX-40 decides to straighten up, and that's when this thing becomes almost indestructible to tanks of a similar tier that don't have a decent amount of penetration. But he does decide to present some side armor. Unfortunately, Rono just misses that shot. I'm going to go for another one. Didn't have time to aim that one out. Probably got the reload speed on the AMX-40, especially when the AMX-40 is too busy reversing. Took his time with aiming that one. Gets the kill. Picks up his Top Gun medal, all before 3 minutes have even passed in the match. Still only got 25 hit points. I'm surprised he managed to get through all of that without taking any damage whatsoever. He's done almost 2,000 points of damage, and at tier 5 with a gun with an average damage of 110 is pretty damn good. Was going to try for a drive-by there, but I think he's reversed now, realizing that everybody's actually facing the opposite direction, so he can take a little bit more time with this one. Going to maybe chase down on the Churchill 1 or try and get some shots on the rear of this KV-1. Trying to decide which way he wants to go. The KV-1's just ducked down into an alleyway there, so he's going to try and maybe take out the Churchill 1, who is dueling with a KV-1 here. Gets his track taken out. Lands a couple of good shots through his side. If he can get a couple more, he might pick up kill number 7. Nope, that one gets taken away by the KV-1 that was dueling with him in the first place. And that just leaves a Marder 38T left, and this has been a fast and furious game for 6 kills and 2,200 points of damage so far, just going absolute ham. Marder 38's camping behind the cap circle. There's no way he's going to be able to survive the onslaught of, what is that, so many tanks, 9 tanks, and indeed he goes down. That is GG and the victory. So awesome game there by Rono1997, showing off his skills in the Panzer III-4, deciding to give absolutely no damns whatsoever and just charging into the middle of the enemy, relying on their inability to take him out, and rely on it he did. And he was able to come out of that one with 6 kills, 2,200 points of damage, and an awesome game. So thank you very much for sending that replay in. Don't forget to stick around, because as always, there is another game, and it's a good one, coming right up. And our second replay is from the user Mullyfoot. That is Mullyfoot, and he's driving the T29 on a standard battle on Winter Himmelsdorf. T29 being a tier 7 heavy tank for the Americans. I've made no illusions that this is one of my favourite tanks in the game. I had a lot of fun driving the T29, and on a lot of occasions I've actually been tempted to rebuy this vehicle just for the lols, as like I said, it is a fantastic heavy tank. especially for its tier. It can absolutely wreck fools, and can wreck people who are not prepared for its cannon and for its turret armor. This thing can be used to great effect. So Mullyfoot straight away going to the banana road where the heavy should go. Squares off against whoever he can find there. Gonna have to stay on his toes here though. As you can see, there's only a Tiger and something else, a tank destroyer, heading up the hill there. Takes a hit from the KV-2. Gunner dies immediately thanks to the KV-2's 152mm artillery cannon. Does find an M6 as well and puts one through him without taking any damage in return. Keeping an eye on what's happening on the hill. That looks like a Hellcat. Looks like the first Hellcat doesn't realise that he's got no support, and he's just going to get swarmed and taken out there. That just leaves the Tiger up on the hill, although the enemy, beautiful shot there to take out the KV-2. Although it looks like the enemy team haven't placed too many tanks on the hill either. Allies going for a heavy train line push. Although with the people that the enemy team have, that may not work out. Taking a shot there. Taking some hits from the artillery by the looks of it. That one just landing right square on top of his head. Thankfully, the artillery kind of woke him up. Well, not woke him up, he wasn't napping. But the artillery kind of snapped to his attention the fact that they've lost that duel on the hill. Didn't take any damage through the side from that M6 there, which is good. Going to now move up the hill in an effort to try and take out the attackers. Now, you can see that the enemy is on the opposite road here, but Mullyfoot's going up the inner road, which is always, almost always, the road that you want to take for various reasons. If the enemy team comes down this road, then you can face them head on. If they're going down the other road there, then you could drop down behind them, which Mullyfoot is almost certainly going to do when he gets up the hill here. You can drop down behind them using that little pile of rubble there. You can go over. And it's a lot shorter of a path to get here. Going around the other road would technically be the long way around, and this proves to be a much shorter path. Lucky not to get stuck there with the length of the tank. Does come up behind this Hellcat. Unfortunately, like I was about to say, I don't think he's got the alpha damage to be able to take out the Hellcat in a single shot. Luckily for him, though, Hellcat has no idea how to traverse body and turret at the same time until the last second, and it's too late for him as he gets taken out. That's kill number 2 now for Mullyfoot. Going to press on towards the base and go for this Comet here. Allows his gun to close in as he takes his shot through the rear. Nice roll there for some damage on this Comet. And now the Comet is also traversing turret at him. Takes some fire from the artillery, not doing any damage. It looks like that push up the train line has been a little bit ill-fated. Now going to come up and try and mop up this M6. Takes a hit from the M6, but that one's not going to do any damage. Using the corpse of his ally there as hold down. M6 is going to have a much faster reload than the T29, although the T29 has the damage and the penetration just to take him out. Does take some damage from the Bishop there, although it may have only been track damage. Now the allies are dropping like flies, losing this one 7 kills to 12. There is 8 members of the enemy team surviving, and only 3 allies. Like I said, the ill-fated push down that train line really did not work out for them. 2 against 8 at the moment. Mullyfoot going to do his best to try and cover off his artillery. Really needed a hit on that Hellcat there, so that was very unlucky. Su-122-44 steams around the corner. Takes that one a little bit too quick, though, as he only manages to bounce. The other Su-122-44, though, luckily manages to penetrate. Luckily for the enemy team, he takes another hit there from the T25-2. The M41 fending people off at the moment. Nobody wants to be the first around the corner. M41 takes his shot and does absolutely nothing. Mullyfoot should reload before the Su-122-44, which he does indeed. But that leaves a Hellcat to come around using the corpse of the artillery as cover. Only gets his track taken off by the Hellcat now. You can see the Su-122-44 making a move to maybe try and flank around behind Mullyfoot, although he's got quite a long way to travel. Maybe get a hit on the Hellcat, which indeed he does. Somebody bounces a shot on his rear, not quite sure who it was. May have snuck that one through the buildings, but I'm not quite sure. Maybe artillery firing somehow bounced on him. Spun himself around now to try and square off against the Su-122-44. The enemy was going for a base capture there. The Su-122-44 goes steaming past. Looks like they've abandoned the base cap now because there's still 5 of them versus just Mullyfoot. Was 6 a second ago, but it looks like he's got the best of this one. The AMX 13 AM is coming around. The artillery wants some of this action. He comes flying around the corner. He gets his face blown directly off. Now he's just got to set up and wait for this SU-122-44. It's a bit of a speedy tank. He comes around the corner. He's going to get a hit now. Mullyfoot gets some nice damage onto him. Looks like he may have missed his shot there. Not really sure. The SU-122-44 is backing off, which allows Mullyfoot to get alongside the other tank destroyer, and he's going to just stay alongside him here, doing a fantastic job of dueling there. If that SU-122-44 hadn't fallen back, and this tank destroyer would have easily been able to get a shot onto Mullyfoot there. And again, he made a mistake of traversing a little bit too far, and that allowed Mullyfoot just to push him out of the way and get between him and the M6. He takes him out for kill number 9, and that just leaves himself versus the Bishop and the SU-122A. So an excellent piece of close quarters dueling there from Mullyfoot, just outplaying the tank destroyers there, getting alongside one of them whilst keeping his strongest armor pointed at the other. Obviously, the SU-122-44 wanted to back off because a turret-hugging T29 is a difficult creature to damage, but that, like I said, allowed him to pull alongside the other tank destroyer and just negated his damage absolutely. So, doing the only thing he can now, which is press on towards the base. Going to try and flush out the artillery by having a look at the most camped spots by the artillery. To be honest, they're probably over on the train tracks, though, as that's where the enemy team pushed through first. So they may be going for their own base capture here, but it looks like Mullyfoot's going to do it. Hopefully they don't both flash up in the cap circle together, as he may not make it back in time. Off the top of my head, I can't remember the exact cap time required for 2 tanks. And there you go. One of them's made it into the cap circle. Will it be the other? Mullyfoot's in a difficult position now, because if they both jump in the cap circle, then this one will be a defeat rather than a win or a draw. So he does the only thing he can here, and that is abandon the cap circle and head towards his own base. Although he's got to be starting to worry a little bit, as only one of those tanks has appeared in the cap circle now. And let's just take a quick look at this. Yes, they are platooned together as well, so almost certainly communicating with each other and coming up with a plan. So Mullyfoot's going to have to be careful here. And still only one of them in the cap circle. Still got a minute left on that clock, but my guess would be that one of them is in the cap circle, hidden around the corner of that church, and the other one is going to be covering the approach, so that as soon as Mullyfoot comes out and tries to have a shot at the artillery, the other one's going to be covering and will possibly be able to take him out. Going to see if that is the case. There we go, SU-122A on the left-hand side, although he is way too far out in the open. If he was going to be covering, he needed to be a little bit further back and covering just the front of that church where the big wooden door is. Mullyfoot's able to take him out for a Pool's medal. And to be honest, whatever happens here, he's acquitted himself absolutely fantastically. Bishop is out in the open. Bishop gets blown away. That's 11 kills and 4,500 points of damage, and an absolutely nail-biting, awesome replay there from Mullyfoot. Thank you very much for sending that one in. Don't forget, guys, if you've got yourself a great replay, send that into replay@screenreality.com. The link for that is in the description. Just attach the replay file itself or the link to the What Replay website to the email, and I can check that one out for you. But don't forget, if you enjoyed this video, you found it useful, informative, you liked it, or you learned something, think about hitting that subscribe button, because there's a lot more World of Tanks content on this channel. I've been Maxwell, this has been World of Tanks Replays, and I'll catch you guys next time.